So, have you been thinking about starting or building a business in Southwest Florida, but you're not exactly sure who your ideal customer or client is? Well, you're not alone. This question can stump so many budding entrepreneurs, people who are ready to bring their gifts into the world, but they ask, who might want it? Who am I selling to? Who would I market to? Well, today in our business building broadcast, we are going to talk about how do you figure out and find your ideal customer or client. If you haven't joined us here before, I'm Darcy Eikenberg. I'm a leadership and executive coach, and I am so honored to be here on behalf of the Women's Foundation of Southwest Florida to talk about starting a business, growing a business, especially for you entrepreneurial-minded women out there, people who are thinking, wondering, wishing maybe that they could start a business. And we need you now more than ever to start your business and start it here in Southwest Florida. Our broadcasts are sponsored, as always, by Comerica Bank. Thank you, Comerica Bank, for all the support that you give to women. And so be sure to go visit Comerica Bank. Now, if you didn't see our last video or the videos that we've had so far, when we're done here, go back and watch them. We've talked about the things that get in the way, like fear, worry, stress. Anybody have a few of those? We've talked about how you can start a business even when you see competition in your field, how you can get over those barriers. And in the coming weeks, we'll continue to talk about things like how you can get money for your business, how you can grow your business, and any other questions that you have about starting your own women-owned business here in Southwest Florida. So if you have a question for us, put it down here in the comments. And if you know a woman who is starting a business or is talking about it, thinking about it, maybe she has a little side gig that she wants to grow and eventually let that be a full-time opportunity, share this page with them, share this video with them. Please pass this along. Like and comment. That's the only way we can get this information into more hands of more of the amazing women here in Southwest Florida. So, let's get started on our topic today. How do you find your ideal client or customer? How do you know who they are? Here's the first secret. The answer is not everybody. You cannot serve everybody. And this is kind of counterintuitive because there are a lot of us that think, well, if I leave anybody out, I could be missing an opportunity. I could see how different types of people might use my service, might want to engage my business. But the fact is, when we're trying to talk to everybody, we're talking to nobody. Think about it this way. Imagine you started a hair salon. You love working with hair, you're great at it, you're talented, and you have a little hair salon. And your sink gets clogged up. Who's the person you're going to call? Are you going to call the everybody's plumber? Or are you going to call the person who says, I specialize in hair and product buildup for hair salons to clear their drains faster so they can get back to work and back to business? You're going to call that second person, right? You're going to call the person who answers more of the problem that you have. The person who specifically is talking to you and the pain that you have. In our earlier videos, one of the things that I shared with you was that a business is just an opportunity to solve a problem for a customer. You know, businesses exist to solve problems, to be able to help people. So, as we talk today about getting clear on your ideal customer or client, I want you to be thinking about who is it precisely that I help? What problem do I solve? Because everybody doesn't have the same problem. I mean, let's face it, there are 9 billion or 7 billion, I think, people in the world. I think there's 20 million in the state of Florida. And even here in Southwest Florida, I wrote it down. It's like 1.2 million. You can have a successful business without trying to reach 1.2 million people. You can have a successful business where you help 10 people or 5 people or maybe even one person. That one person can get you started. So let's dive in as to the steps you can take to start defining and finding your ideal customer or client. You ready? Okay. Step number 1, write down their demographics. Now, what do I mean by demographics? You probably have heard this word before. Demographics are basically just the facts about somebody in terms of where they live, how old they are, what they do, maybe how much money that they make. Go through and just make a list of the core demographics of your perfect customer or client, your ideal customer or client, and don't judge the list. Don't say to yourself, oh, but that kind of person would never buy from me. No. Think about what is the demographic? What is the range? And don't make it, again, resist the urge to say, oh, it's everybody. Oh, I could help people who are 18 or people who are 58. What's your sweet spot? What's the person that you know that you can help solve their problem? Write down all the demographics that you can figure out. And you can Google demographic questions. There are lists that you can find that are really easy to fill this in. But just set yourself a timer, write this out as quickly as possible, get that demographic picture of that person. Maybe they're married, maybe they have kids, maybe they live in a particular neighborhood, maybe they're a business owner, maybe they work at a company. Those kind of factual data. Get the demographics down. Now the second step is a little more complicated. Now we're going to work on what are called the psychographics. Now, what do I mean by that? Psychographics are things that we can't see as clearly. There are attitudes, our values, our principles, and our concerns, our fears. Let's get into the head of the person that you'd want to serve. What wakes them up at night? What are they afraid of? What do they hope for? What's their bigger vision? What's the thing that's important to them? So as you think about your customer or client, get specific about if she feels overwhelmed with all the social media and doesn't know how to choose which way to spend her time. Or she really wants to connect better with her family that doesn't live nearby. So things that are of the head and the heart, like what does this person feel? One of the things we said in an earlier video is to never forget that emotion puts people in motion. I'll say that again. Emotion puts people in motion. So tapping into what their emotions are, what they're feeling, thinking, and even believing is so important to really understand your ideal customer or client, because you want your product, your service, your solution to answer those needs. Okay, got those both lists? Here's the third strategy. Now, it's time to talk to real people. What a revelation, right? But so many budding entrepreneurs, so many new businesses, just assume that they know. I know what a new mom needs. Or I know what a person who's been in business for 10 years needs now. Do you? I want you to check your assumptions at the door. And now I want you to pick 10 people, yes, 10, who you can talk to, whether in person or whether on the phone. But I want you to actually have a conversation. I don't want you to do this by email or by an online survey or just even by just using the Google for some research. This is a time for you to get eyeball to eyeball or at least voice to voice with people who could possibly be in your target audience. So how do you find those people? Well, I believe you already know them, or at least some of them. So open up your phone right now. Take a look at your contacts. Make a list of 10 people who fall into some of the characteristics that you've already written down. And maybe it's just the demographic characteristics. Maybe I want to talk to women business owners who live in Southwest Florida. Or maybe it's just an aspect of, one problem that that they might have, or you're speculating they might have. I don't care. Pick the 10 people from your contacts list. If you don't have a very deep contacts list, go to your Facebook friend list. These don't have to be people that you know really well, but they certainly can be. And what you're asking them is you're saying, I'm working on a new venture for me. Maybe you want to tell them a little bit about it. Maybe you don't. But you ask, I would love 10 minutes of your time to learn a little bit more about what's happening for you so that I can think about how I might be able to serve other people who are like you. So just asking for conversation. You're not trying to sell them anything. You're not doing anything more than setting the expectation of, I'd just love to talk to you and learn a little bit more about you. That's the one topic we all are experts on. This is why things like informational interviewing doesn't always work, because people feel threatened, like they have to have a perfect answer. But if you say, I'd love to just talk to you and hear more about you and what you're doing and what your life is like. And it's tied to these decisions that I'm trying to make about other things that I'm doing. People love to talk about themselves. So find those 10 people. And then you can ask them different questions like, I wrote some down here. What's your typical day like? If you had a product that you wanted to help a working mom manage her time better, or to take some stress out of her day, wouldn't you want to understand what that typical day is like? What happens? Take me from when you wake up to when you go to sleep. What happens? And then you listen. Another great question is, what's the biggest frustration you have with, and then fill in the kind of field that you're in. So maybe you're a business consultant and you work in a particular area, particular business, and you're talking to people who are in that business. What's the biggest frustration you have with finding and hiring a consultant to be able to solve this problem? Getting to the frustration is getting to those psychographics. It's getting to that deeper knowledge of where the pain is, where the problem is that you are meant to serve. And another good question, what do you currently do now when that thing happens? Let's say you own a cupcake shop, or you wanted to start a cupcake shop, and maybe you want to ask, what's typically happening for you when you go and buy yourself a cupcake? You're trying to, again, get at the motivations, the attitudes, the values, the stories that people are telling themselves when they engage with products like yours. So have those 10 conversations and just listen. Just listen. You don't have to explain anything about what you're doing. You don't have to have any perfect answers. And if someone says, well, so tell me about your business. Tell me about what you're trying to do. It's a great opportunity to have a further conversation, but if you're not ready yet, you can say, thank you so much for your interest. And right now, I'm still in listening mode. I'm still in designing mode, but I'd love to have a conversation with you in another month. Can we put a date on the calendar that I can buy a cup of coffee for you? This is the way that these real life conversations can actually then turn into magically your first clients, your first customers. Maybe you're ready right now to invite somebody to be a customer, to be a client. After you have this conversation and you get to know their pain, their problems, their struggles, maybe it's the time when you follow up with a thank you note or an email or a week later and say, I was thinking more about you. And I would love to be able to help the situation that you and I talked about. Would you be interested in hearing more about what I can do and how it works? So these conversations help you not only get clear and clear and clear on your ideal customer, but they also get you in front of them. Let you start talking to them. And believe me, once you start talking to them, you will know whether you're a match for what they're talking about or not. As long as you promise me this, that you stay in listen mode, that you're listening. You're not trying to shift what they're saying to something else. Because if a person you pick to talk to doesn't have the problem that you know that you want to solve, that's great. That's terrific data. Because what that says is, great, that problem is outside of my field where I'm going to solve their problems. Somebody else has a solution for them. They're not mine. That's okay. Because the more specific that we get, the more clear we can be with our target customers so that they can say, yes, that's the problem that I have to solve. And the less time you spend squandering on marketing, on advertising, on having to explain what you do and what problem that you solve. Remember, as we said, you can't serve everybody. So who are the people you're going to serve? So again, the 3 strategies to get moving on creating, understanding, connecting with your ideal client or customer. Write the demographics down. Know just who they are, where they are. Write the psychographics down. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are their attitudes? What are their values? And then talk to real people. Find 10 people in your contacts list or on your Facebook friends, but real people. Invite them to have a conversation. Have that. Take notes. Listen furiously. And learn from that. Now, if you do those 3 things, I want you to do one more gut check. Do I love this person? Do I love this type of person? Do I have empathy and care for the mom whose kids are between the ages of 5 and 7? Or the business owner who's struggling with their technology issues? Do I care so much about this person? Because here's the fatal flaw in a lot of business models, and these are not things that we're talking about in business school or in traditional entrepreneurial job start situations. If you don't love the type of person that you're going to be serving, the person who wants the best cupcake in the neighborhood, or the person who wants the salon experience to be relaxing and fulfilling and make her feel beautiful. Whatever your thing is, if you don't love that person, you're not going to love your business. You're not going to be motivated to think about them and think about their problems and get to know them better. And that's the best way to keep starting and growing a business, is to want to serve your ideal customer. If you don't love them, go back to the beginning. Figure out what characteristics are the things I'm not loving. How do I tighten that list? How do I make it more narrow? You can do this. Don't let defining your ideal customer or client get in the way of you starting your woman-owned business here in Southwest Florida. So, how about you? What are you going to do next to identify your ideal client or customer? Because once you know more about who she or he is, then you know more about where to reach them, how to find them. And in future videos, we'll talk about how to make your offer, how to actually sell to them in a way that doesn't feel slimy, that feels more like serving. Your business exists to help somebody. The business that you're going to create is going to exist to help somebody. Let's not wait. Let's start helping people now. Okay, I'm so glad you're here with me today. Be sure to pass this video on, share it with your network, leave a comment, leave a question, maybe something you'd like us to address on future videos. And don't forget, there are resources for you at the Women's Foundation of Southwest Florida. If you're somebody in Southwest Florida who was affected by Hurricane Irma, there's information here on the page and also at the website about getting a Kiva loan. So this is a loan that is, you can get a loan for no interest to be able to give you not only startup money or money to get back on track if you were thrown off by the recent hurricanes. So we'll post more links and watch this Facebook page for more information on the Kiva program. It's a great way that the Women's Foundation of Southwest Florida is helping you start and grow the business that you want to create in our world. Okay, I look forward to seeing you here next time. Keep asking these questions. Go out, find your ideal client or customer, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.